Welcome everyone to the Consistently OK podcast. My name's Luke and I'm here as always with Nick.
Hello.
And we're presenting you with our bi-weekly podcast centered around pop culture that we do our very best, as always, to make Consistently OK for you. Each month we give you one episode where we dive into something such as a film, a TV show, a game or a comic, and we break down our thoughts and more on it. Our second monthly episode will be our in-depth series, and this season we're focusing on Batman from films to animation, where we take you on a journey through the highs and lows, ins and outs, and the representation of Batman through the years. This episode is sponsored by Black Spot Comics. Black Spot Comics publish creator-owned comics, and you can find them by searching for Black Spot Comics on Comixology. They have titles such as Snow the Dawn, Odyssey, Whistleblower, and more. Black Spot Comics, we pillage, we plunder, we publish. So this episode is another one of our in-depth episodes, and we're focusing, as you know, on Batman, and this one is about Batman Returns, the Tim Burton film from 1992, and we are joined by a very special guest. We're joined by Neil from Get Your Comic On. Hello, Neil.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm really excited to talk about this movie.
It's so good. Would you like to tell us a bit about yourself, people who don't know about Get Your Comic On?
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know me, is there anyone that doesn't know me?
Everyone knows you.
So I co-host a fortnightly-ish podcast, the Get Your Comic On podcast, which is on all major platforms. I host that with my long-suffering husband, Martin. And then you can find my ramblings on film, TV, comics, pop culture stuff at getyourcomiccon.co.uk. We are there every day trying to do all the latest news as well as review the latest stuff.
Fantastic. You did that very well, considering I normally read my stuff from a script and I still mess it up.
Absolutely.
You did that. It was perfect.
Yeah.
So maybe you should do our intros. That would be a lot easier.
I actually have our intro for our podcast committed to memory now, pretty much. I can just about do it without needing to have it in front of me anymore. It took me a long time.
I was saying to Nick, there's a wrestling podcast that I listen to, and the guy does it. It's a really long intro. You can tell he's just done it so many times. And then he was saying on one of his podcasts the other day, is like they changed one of the shows they talk about. They changed it from a Wednesday to a Tuesday. And he's like, it just threw him off completely. Like he cannot get it right to save his life now, which is really funny.
If I get one word wrong, then that does throw me off. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. It's like, throw the microphone. It's like, I'm done. Sorry.
Well, I don't know why in our opening, I wrote the word representation. And it's a big-ish word, isn't it? But it's just, every time I get to it, I'm like, representation. Oh, fuck, why did I even write it? Anyway, that's a battle for another day. So, Batman Returns. I think we'll just jump straight in. I think because this is a sequel, because we've already talked about Batman 89 in a previous episode. And because a lot of the cast not a lot of the cast, but the main character, Michael Keaton, is carried over to this. Should we just talk about the cast first?
Go for it.
Yeah. Cast and crew. So, should we just start with Keaton, as that's the first person that I just mentioned? He's a good Batman, isn't he?
He certainly is.
Yeah.
He's better in this than Batman 89, because I really liked him in Batman 89, but he seems, well, interesting. The first thing I noticed about him is he doesn't actually say anything for the first 30 minutes, maybe?
Probably not.
Does he? Pick up on that? He doesn't say anything, because obviously you have a lot of
you've got the whole fight sequence in the town square and stuff.
And then when you see him for the first time, he just stands up, and he doesn't say anything when he's actually in the city fighting. And I can't remember what his first word. I did write it down somewhere. I can't remember what it is. I'm used to keeping my notes, by the way, Neil. They're everywhere.
Because he doesn't speak when he rescues Selena Kyle from the clown.
No, he just
when he does the whole grapple thing, he just stares. So it'll be when he talks to Commissioner Gordon, probably, when they're trying to figure out where Max Schreck has gone. They do that bit where they're walking down the street. It's probably then. Yeah,
so it takes a long chunk of the film before he says anything.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I've never thought of that.
He got away with that, Michael. He just got paid more money to not say anything for the first 35 minutes.
However, how does nobody notice the giant, like, retractable bat signals that light up the entire of Wayne Manor at the beginning?
Yeah, right. Exactly. From different angles. It's not just one. It's like boom, 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 boom. No one sees it.
That was something that I put in my kind of narrative notes. Actually, was the fact that for the kind of titular character, he really doesn't say a whole lot, but he's so memorable in the role. And I find that really impressive that they managed to just create such a personality out of him, basically just not saying a lot. Like every other Batman, I feel like says something.
Says too much. I mean, Christian Bale doesn't say he's a very good Batman as well, isn't he? But these two, they're the two Batmans I like the most. I dread the fact we've got to talk about George Clooney Batman and
What do you mean?
even Val Kilmer for Batman to a point. Oh God, no, not Batman and Robin.
He is Nick's Batman.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I don't want to watch them. Don't make me watch them. But I think Michael Keaton is a really good Batman. I'm super excited that he's going to be in the Flash film as well. I just think he's one of those Batmans that he kind of actually looks at, obviously most of the time if you really look at it, you can tell it's Bruce Wayne under the mask. If you really were to focus on it, you think you'd get there, but he actually looks really good in the costume as well. Like obviously the way they liked him and everything that is, so he's very dark at the top and everything. But I think he's so much more relaxed in this when Batman Returns than he was Batman 89, and I think it shows with I think he's just really good in.
Yeah, there's like a level of confidence with him in this film that you maybe don't get so much in 89, because I would imagine if he knew about the kind of reaction to his casting and the fact that people were so unsure about him, then I guess he probably felt this movie like he'd proven himself, so had a bit more confidence about his performance.
Yeah, and he's top billing, isn't he? Because in Batman 89, Jack Nicholson went through his whole part of his contract was that he was the number one guy. He was top billed.
Yeah,
it was him, then Mike Keaton. He's the big name in this, isn't he? And even so, that if what you just said, Neil, is that with Danny DeVito being Penguin and Michelle Pfeiffer being Catwoman, they weren't the first choices originally either. They were both.
No,
they weren't the. I don't know about Danny DeVito actually. I know Michelle Pfeiffer wasn't the original pick, was she? There was someone else that was cast originally.
And is this the situation where she fell off a horse and broke her leg, or was it this someone got pregnant?
She got pregnant.
Yeah. There was.
Yeah, it was she got pregnant. I can't remember her name now.
No, me neither. And then they brought her in afterwards.
It wasn't Annette Bening or something like that, was it?
Wasn't it? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Annette Bening. Yeah, that was it. So with Michael Keaton in Batman 89, he obviously he was a bit scrutinized for being picked and blah blah. But because it works so well, he's a lot more free. And the shackles are off a bit more in this one, but it probably was a bit more confidence, wasn't it, going in? And his suit was adjusted so he could move a little bit more. Although it doesn't look like he can move well at all, does it? Like his neck doesn't twist. Let's face it.
Not at all. So, I have a bit of an issue with the Batman Returns costume. I think I prefer the chest plate on the Batman 89 one. It's a little bit less anatomical in this one. They made it slightly more robotic. If you look at like the non-existent six-pack that he probably did not have underneath it, it's really, really clean lines in this one, rather than being like a replication of human anatomy that you get in Batman 89. And I don't know what it is, but something about that I just don't quite like as much.
Do you reckon they're gonna? Sorry, you go.
You go. No, you go, Nick.
Oh, I was gonna say, do you reckon they're gonna redesign the suit for the Flash, or do you reckon they're gonna go for like the original Batman suit or the return suit?
There's that one piece of concept art which is not obviously a lot to go on, but I'm pretty sure if you sit on Photoshop and lighten it up a bit to try and see the minute detail, it's the 89 costume. It's got like the slightly extra bit on the tail of the bat symbol and stuff. I think so I'm pretty sure it's the 89 version.
Because I was kind of hoping that he'd be like a weathered down Batman, like he was sort of like Flashpoint Batman in a way. Like no, I guess Thomas Wayne isn't that weathered down, but I thought his suit was going to be he was going to be like an old school Batman. Like he's been through everything already, and he was just going to. That's what I thought maybe, because obviously Michael Keaton now is grey hair, and I mean I know you can do anything in films these days, can't you? They could make him look younger than he is, but probably I would think they'd go 89, which obviously from what Neil said is maybe likely.
Because that was one of the. Sure. That was one of the things that I read about Batman Returns, is that Tim Burton didn't want to make a sequel. He wanted to almost do it as like its own thing. And that got me wondering about the Flash. So I was like, oh, you could in theory just set it between 89 and Returns. Like if he's gone off of that logic that it's like, I don't want to have a direct sequel at any point, you can just place that Batman wherever you want, really.
Wherever you want.
Which I thought was quite interesting as well, just from, as we're talking about cast and crew, that Burton was so specific to it being like, it can't be a sequel, it has to just be its own thing. Because I think there is literally just one line that connects the two.
He talks about Vicky Vale at one point, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's that scene between him and Selena Kyle when she's like, Vicky, ice dancer or stewardess?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I can do I can do a fair amount of the script.
It's solid work.
It's like me in the MCU films. I could just go on and on with the script, but yes. But it's it's strange that there isn't, like you said, the returning characters. There weren't really any because not even Jim Gordon had a huge role, did he?
No, he didn't really in this. He's
No.
he's not in this one anywhere near as much.
No, it's just Alfred. Alfred's the only supporting actor that really makes a substantial contribution to the film. So even though I remember when I was younger, I remember thinking that when he's the line where he's going to take the stairs, I remember thinking that, but he's still there just as quick as Bruce Wayne. Like he's there just as quick as Batman is going down the slide. And I love the fact that it's a slide. So good. Excellent entrance into the Batcave.
I think Knox is in it as well, isn't he? In like the opening scene where you meet. Is he? I'm pretty sure he walks out of the department store. I could be wrong on this. Or the actor just looks really. Does he not?
Could be a really similar looking actor. Yeah.
I think if it was Knox,
if that's like an Easter egg that I've missed, I will be really, really shocked.
Just another excuse to go watch it again.
And I was like, oh, and then he just wasn't in it. I was like, oh, maybe it was just me, but it looked a lot like him.
I did always think it was weird that he didn't carry over from film to film.
Yeah.
Because there's normally there's always like one like smaller character that comes over, doesn't it? That you have as like, I mean, I guess it is Alfred in this, but he's an obvious choice. But there's normally like another sub character that just keeps taking over. Knox would have been probably the sensible choice, wouldn't he? Because he was trying to like obviously look into the Batman situation. So, what do you think about Danny DeVito as Penguin? Because he's bloody awesome.
Yeah,
he's so good.
I love this version of Penguin. I mean, it's
the best version of Penguin. Oh, I obviously knows what's going to happen in the Batman, but it's I don't know why.
No, I know what you mean. That was kind of my first introduction to Penguin, other than Batman 66, watching the TV series. So for a long time, this was how I felt the Penguin was supposed to be. And it was only then when I really read comics later on that I realized that actually it's not maybe representative of how he is in the comics, but I just love this version. He's so grotesque.
Yeah. I love this. My two favorite versions of the Penguin is this and the Penguin from the Arkham games, the kind of Cockney Penguin, which is pretty good as well. But I think he's so good in the role as well. And because this is the first time I've seen it in quite a while. I bought the bundle. I've got them all on Blu-ray, but I bought the bundle iTunes because I had to get Batman Forever and stuff. Which now it feels like I've spent money that I don't want to spend.
So good.
I actually like Batman Forever. I have a lot of love for Batman Forever.
I'm weirdly excited to watch it. Like it's been so long since I've seen it, and I'm like, sure.
Because I did a dissertation on it at university, and because I had to watch it so many times, I think it ruined it for me. I think I thought it was all right, but now I just don't like it at all. So
why did you choose Batman Forever over Batman and Robin? If you're going to do a dissertation,
it was chosen for me. It was not a dissertation, sorry, an essay, not a dissertation. God, can you imagine if my uni dissertation was on Batman Forever? Oh my God.
That's why I was wondering. I was like, you'd have the choice, and you chose Batman Forever.
An essay. Oh man, I had to watch it so many times. But on the other side of it, I got another film. I did Sin City, which was fun.
Amazing.
Go watch that. Anyway, so he's great. I can't remember what my original point was going to be. I just got sidetracked. But
DeVito's strong.
He's strong, isn't he? And you're saying about the TV show Penguin, is that the mayor campaign posters?
Yeah,
looks like him.
TV show, which I never noticed because when I watched it a few years ago, or obviously I've seen it loads of times, but last time I watched it was a long time ago, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool! Like it's proper. He's got the pipe, and which is nothing like this Penguin version, obviously. So they're just lapped it up for the posters to make him look like a mayor campaign candidate. But I love that touch, and that's so smart. And there's a lot of little things like that Tim Burton does throughout this, or set designers, everything. But that was great to see this grotesque Penguin, and then what they want as a mayor is Penguin. So it was really good, and he really went for the role, didn't he, Danny DeVito? Because I read that he was in the makeup chair for ages, and like he kept having to eat food colorings and everything and paste.
Yeah,
so the ooze just trickled out.
Yeah,
so, which was good. Brilliant. And the raw fish as well. That was apparently a real fish. Like he just was like, it's like, oh God. So,
and isn't it a real bird as well when it gets to the bit where Selena Kyle puts a bird in her mouth? I think there was a brief stunt with a real bird there as well.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, they probably just both went for it, didn't they? Because they probably were.
Why would you not? When you're in a role like that, especially with Tim Burton, he's probably there literally egging you on and pushing you as much as possible.
I know this is part of the narrative, but I'm desperate to talk about one scene, which I completely forgot about. Other than, it's because it has Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer in it. It's the scene in the upstairs room above the airplane. obviously the first line that Danny Vito is like just the pussy I wanted to see, and I was like, holy shit! He got, because I read a lot about it that it was PG, and it was like it got a lot of stick for being a lot of stuff.
I think it was 15 when it first came out, and it's over the years come down to because I could. Well, to be fair, I was only 7 when it came out, so if it was PG, I would have been able to see it. I was not allowed to see it at the cinema. I hadn't seen one until Batman Forever because I was too young. So I'm pretty sure it was 15 or 12 when it came out, and has lowered over the years.
Because I think the first time I saw it was on VHS, and my mum was letting me watch Predator when I was like 8. And I was
me too.
Thanks, mum. And and I remember seeing it when I was quite young, but obviously at that age, I wasn't thinking, he just walks in the room and said, "Okay," he said, "Pussy," and that's funny, and not at all rude or anything. And then the whole scene, when I was watching it last night, it's just like, oh my god, this whole scene. Even when she starts licking herself, cleaning herself, I was like, Jesus Christ! And like he's just on the bed, like, it's like, it's just it's a really weird scene, but it's so good as well. The whole and Danny DeVito in that scene as well. He's just like throwing because he's got the flipper hands, obviously the penguin hands, and he throws this ointment in the air.
Oh yeah,
and he catches it with his like flipper hand. I don't know if you've watched it. I don't know why I was watching it so closely, but it was such a good catch.
She calls Batman a fly in the ointment, and he does the scented or unscented.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, and he catches it. If you got to watch it again now because it's a really good catch. I was very impressed with Vito because he's in all this.
He also does that. I can't remember if it's this scene or was it just before it when he pins the badge on that girl's chest. Yeah, and he says, "You're the hottest role." She says, "You're the hottest role model a young person could have," and he's like, "You're the hottest young person a role model could have." And then he says he wished he could have shown her his French flipper trick. I'm like, what's that?
Yeah, what is it?
That's just wrong.
It's really there's so much of that like sexual stuff that obviously Danny DeVito is like, not Danny DeVito. Maybe he was after Michelle Pfeiffer, but he's Penguin is lusting after Catwoman, isn't he? It's just such a random scene that I forgot about. But both of them, Michelle Pfeiffer as well, we should talk about. She's so good in it as well. Like you can't. Yeah. Even the fact that she was second choice is crazy because I saw a video of her, a behind the scenes video, which was doing the rounds on Twitter, where she's smacking the mannequin. Yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
Does it?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. And she does it in one take, and she just skips off into the distance. And it's unreal, isn't it? Because when I watched it, I hadn't watched the film since I saw that viral video either. So I was like, I wonder how good it looks on camera. Now I know that was done in one take, and it's just so good. It's so good, and she's great in the role, and she's
just so easy to watch as well. Like the way that she plays the character, the difference between her returning home, where it's like when she returns home as just Selena, and then when she comes back and she's Catwoman, the difference in those two is just played so well.
It's really good. I remember that a lot from when I was younger. That scene is one of the standouts of that, and the penguins with the jetpacks, or the rockets rather. Like that scene when she comes home and then she spills all the milk and then she drinks all the milk. Like I remembered it. Obviously, Neil remembers it like word for word, but I remember it seen like look visually, and it's just really good. And her go nuts making a costume and everything like that. I think what these two do, which is probably again more narrative, is they own both the characters.
They really do.
You can just see that they've just not only did they enjoy doing it. I'd be devastated to learn that it was like shit going on behind the scenes, but they seem to just be like, "You're Catwoman. This is you. You're tormented. This has happened to you," and she owns it. And Danny DeVito he doesn't stop, does he?
Smashed it.
He smashes
even more
it,
so, I think, than Jack Nicholson. I think.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
When I watched Batman '89, I still remember how much I was absolutely shit scared of that Joker. Like I have a complete phobia of gas masks purely because of that scene at the end with the parade and the giant balloons. I cannot. And the scene after he kills his boss guy, and he sits there and smears the blood on the newspaper and does the really menacing laugh, and it's really darkly lit apart from part of his face. It's so scary. But then when I watch Batman Returns, I'm kind of like, I think of it as Jack Nicholson as the Joker, whereas with these two, I just think of it as Penguin and Catwoman. I don't really see Danny DeVito or Michelle Pfeiffer. It is just the characters.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is about, because I really like Jack Nicholson Joker as well, but I think it probably is because he has. But interestingly, there's a lot of people that say the Batman '89 could have been. I say a lot of people. I've probably read like 4 things on it, but they say like it's more of a Joker film. Like it's a Joker film against Batman film. A lot of people say this is a Catwoman film more so than or it's like the villains have more time than Batman does in the film. But with Jack
Tim
Nicholson,
Burton, actually, I remember. Sorry, cut you off there.
That's okay.
Tim Burton, so your whole thing about him not wanting to do a sequel, I think the way that he talks about it, when he talks about how Warner Brothers got him on board to do it, was that they agreed that he could focus more on the villains. He felt like he focused on Batman's journey in the first one, kind of parallel to Joker, and he wasn't interested in retreading Batman's journey. He wanted a villain's journey, and that's why he picked those two. And that was what got him to sign on for it, was being able to do something more from a villain's perspective.
That's what it should be, shouldn't it? Because you should be able, because I guess it would have been a trilogy eventually. I remember rumblings anyway.
Yeah, so it should have been Harvey Dent. It should have been Two-Face.
Yeah, and it should have been a Catwoman sequel as well, which I read about earlier today. But then that Catwoman got put. That was going to be a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman film. Then that got put on the shelf, and eventually it became the Halle Berry Catwoman film.
Halle Berry,
so good.
So not good.
Glad we don't.
I actually watched that again the other day. I watched it. I actually bought it on iTunes because it was 99p. And the only thing that I had not noticed before that I did notice and thought, oh, I appreciate that. There's one, like at one point when she's studying Catwoman, there's a photo of Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm like, there we go. There was at least a nod.
99p well spent.
Yeah, 99p well spent for that one scene. God, the CGI is awful. It's so bad. It's so bad.
I remember nearly going to see it at the cinema before the reviews came out for it.
I never actually saw it at the cinema, I don't think. I think I only saw a pirated copy.
I didn't go in the end because I don't think I even saw the trailer. It's a Catwoman film. I go and see every superhero film. I'm probably going to see it. And I was like, okay, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to go. So
bad.
But I wish we had a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman film. And I really wish that we had I really, really wish we got another Michael Keaton, Tim Burton Batman film as well, because I think, because they do focus on the villains so much, and Tim Burton, what he said is not focusing so much on the Batman story, then I would have loved to see him tackle like a couple more villains, like Two-Face or something, or I don't know. Well, Riddler probably would have suited him, but
I would have.
So there is a new comic book.
Yes, there is a new comic book. Yeah,
I think it starts in July, where they're going back to the unused ideas and are telling more stories in Michael Keaton's Batman world.
Yeah, cool. And it's guys from the same, not the main screenwriter, but the one who oversaw some of the changes of Batman Returns. Is his name Ham? No,
Ham. Yeah, Chris Ham. I want to say something like that.
I think it's that. No, Sam Ham. No,
Sam Ham. That's it.
It's Sam Ham, isn't it? Yeah,
it is Sam Ham. Yeah, well done.
Good. Okay, got it. Maybe just in my head because it rhymes. I was like, when I said it out loud, I was like, Sam Ham. No, you just made that up because it rhymes. Too much time singing kid songs to my children, like all rhyming thing. So yeah, that's really cool though, because I saw the comic art and stuff, because a guy called Darren Robinson, he does all the logos for the DC comics, and I follow him on Twitter, and he was like super happy that he got to do the Batman 89 logo for the comic.
That's really cool.
So I love the fact that they're doing that. You never know what's going to come from this, do you? With this, depending on what happens with the Flash and stuff. Like, it'd be great if because Michelle Pfeiffer, she could get in that Catwoman suit still, I reckon, and get Danny DeVito's dead, isn't he? In the Batman universe. Not Danny DeVito. I've got to stop calling him Danny DeVito. Penguin's dead. I did this on an earlier podcast where I said someone was dead, but they're not dead. It was the character is dead, not the actor.
Not the actor.
So there was an Easter egg from the filming of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I don't know. It could have. I don't know if it was proven false, but there was an Easter egg that went around that was from when they were filming with the guy that played Knox, because you see Batman 89 world for all of like 5 seconds, and I think it's the first episode of Crisis on Infinite Earths.
It is. I think it's like
and
right.
There was a Gotham Gazette cover that had a picture of Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne, and the headline was something along the lines of Bruce Wayne marries Selena Kyle.
Oh wow!
Oh cool.
That's
So
fun.
in theory. I mean, I think she even said, I'm sure, Michelle, I nearly called her Selena Kyle. I'm sure Selena Kyle's been asked and said that she'd happily come back and do another film. I think Michelle Pfeiffer said she's up for it if they were to ask. So you never know. Maybe Flash's Bruce Wayne is married to Selena Kyle.
It's better. They have to have some secrets, don't they? Like in this Flash film, for instance, they can't just say this person. There's enough buzz about it now, isn't there, with Michael Keaton and stuff like that? I'd love for Michelle Pfeiffer to pop up in there as well. That'd be a massive pop, wouldn't it, in the cinema or something? If he rocked up in there as well, and like a CGI Alfred, just
I wonder if
you
you'd get that in the Flash. I wonder if like a post credits or mid credits or something, they'd do it and just not tell anybody. And
it'd be really, because we need like an old Batman, not like bloody Batman, Dark Knight Returns and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Like all that sort of old Batman, like old Bruce Wayne and stuff, and Michael Keaton. Get him in a big armored suit and just it'd be amazing. So I'd love for something like that to come out, something like the Flash, like for them to, like you said about when we talked about Batman before in an earlier podcast, like if they're going to do this multiverse thing, then, which is definitely the way DC need to go, then the sky's the limit, isn't there? They can bring back old Batmen and go for it. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
What did you think about Christopher Walken?
Amazing.
I love Christopher Walken in this.
He's good, isn't he?
So
I think I think I remember thinking, oh, he's a bit annoying in this, but I think obviously I've seen a lot more Christopher Walken since when I was younger in films, and Jesus Christ, like his hair is fucking phenomenal. Like,
so
he's so intimidating, isn't he? Because he's not, obviously he is a villain, isn't he? And he's just as bad as the others, but he's just. There's a line where he says, I mean, Neil will know it better when he talks to his brother, his son, who he ditches originally as well, when his son is like, run for your life, Dad, or whatever he says. And then he's like, okay.
His son also looks like a villain from Die Hard.
He does,
like,
doesn't he?
Every time I see him, I'm like, is that somebody from Die Hard?
Yeah.
Chip.
He does.
Chip, yeah. Why would you call him Chip? Chip Shrek. Nice.
He abandons him in the first few scenes when the guys are coming through the city, all the clowns and stuff. And then he does take his place on the rubber duck at the end when he goes down into the sewers. But he says about if Selena Kyle gets in his way again, he'll chuck her out a higher window.
Yeah,
like, oh, man, he's just ruthless, absolute monster.
So I love the little Tim Burton in nod as well because of the character name. Because Max Schreck is the name of the actor who played Nosferatu in the. Gonna have to double check. 1936 Nosferatu movie, which is one of Tim Burton's favorites. So he named the character after the actor that played Nosferatu.
I had no idea. When I watched this again last night, I was trying to think of it because I've got I read a lot of Batman comics and I know quite a lot about them, and I was just like, who is this character? Like, he must be someone in the Batman universe. And they're like, Max Schreck. I was like, Max Schreck, like the flip. I was like, I couldn't believe his last name was Shrek. But he's really good, isn't he? He's just he's really good.
Yeah, I mean, he's great in everything.
Being electrocuted.
Yeah.
But I read, saying that, you mentioned about Two-Face, Neil. I read earlier today when I was just reading back and forth different bits that originally that character could have been Two-Face, and that when Selena Kyle put him into the electricity, it was gonna burn half his face.
Interesting. Could have been, yeah.
But then I don't know, because we were talking in Batman 89. Obviously, there's a Harvey Dent in there already, but I didn't find anything anywhere about who was going to play Harvey Dent. I assumed it would be what's his name? I can't remember.
Lando Calrissian.
Lando, yeah. That's what we said last time. We just call him Lando. So yeah, but that was the thing, and then that would go into that would be part of the trilogy. That would be Two-Face would be the next villain, but they decided to go with Max Schreck for some reason, which probably makes more sense because three big villains is probably too much, I guess, for one film.
Yeah, true. I suppose it would be pretty overstuffed, wouldn't it?
Like Spider-Man 3. Too many villains ruining Spider-Man 3.
Any Spider-Man 3, really.
Yes.
Potentially.
That's true. Well, this Spider-Man 3 is going to have even more villains, isn't it? It's going to be mental. It's going to have everyone in it, and too many Spider-Men, maybe. Anyway, let's not talk about Marvel, Nick. Stop talking about Marvel all the time. Jesus.
There's only ever one Spider-Man anyway, so it's fine.
It's not Andrew Garfield.
Right,
Neil,
it's Andrew Garfield.
No, what's wrong with you two? It's Tom Holland. Because he's young. He's actually young. He's actually playing a teenager. He's not anymore. Now he's got old. But should be recast again. But he's young enough to actually look like a high schooler, unlike Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, who should not be at school. They're far too old. Right. So do anybody else want to talk about any of the casts?
I was trying to think if there's any other characters in this that need picking up on. I was always really creeped out by the lady with the dog, the poodle lady.
Yes. She is a bit
especially when she does that. The last time you see her, when she's in like the igloo at the top of the penguin enclosure, and Batman's zipping in his weird like jet boat thing. She just speaks in this really weird voice where she's like, something is approaching. It's very large, very fast.
She does the same
And then
thing
she really weirdly just like rolls her chair backwards and it just fades to black and that's it. She's gone. She's like some sort of ghost who fades away. It's really weird. Creepy as hell.
She's also the bit where I thought the CGI, I guess, but the shots had improved a few just in the few years between 89 and Batman Returns with the batarang that goes round. That was a pretty cool shot at the time. I would imagine that was like, holy shit, like, yeah, that's a really cool shot until the dog ruins everything, which is also really weird. Like, surely that batarang should have killed that dog.
That dog jumped pretty high as well to catch that.
Pretty high, yeah. So she was. There was one scene though, actually thinking about the characters when they kidnapped the lady who pushes the button,
the Ice Princess.
The Ice Princess. Yeah, I found that whole scene with Batman and Catwoman a bit odd. It felt a bit like empty.
Yeah, the dialogue as well. When she, what is it? Oh God, I'm gonna get it wrong now. She says, "Eat floor, high fiber," or he hits her and knocks her to the ground.
Yeah.
And it's the eat floor, high fiber, and you're like,
it's so weird.
Okay. It feels like it was just shooed in like last minute. It just doesn't feel really weird because then as soon as they're outside again, it feels like it picks up just where it left off. But it doesn't feel like for the fact that they both realize who each other are and they're like racing to get to the right place. It's like, it felt a bit anticlimactic in that warehouse building. I don't know what it was. I can't remember. But yeah, so should we move on to narrative?
I remembered a tidbit fact that I was going to tell you. The Penguin's parents are the guy that plays Pee Wee Herman and Diane. So it's Paul Rubens who plays Pee Wee Herman and Diane Salinger, who is his love interest in Tim Burton's Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Oh my God.
Wow. I did not even think about that. But now you've said it. That's Pee Wee Herman, isn't it?
Yeah. And he then plays the Penguin's dad in Gotham as well.
Yes, he does.
Crikey.
That is true. Wow, I didn't even see that. I was actually looking at them I was thinking at that when the opening scene with them. I was like, oh, I wonder who they are because obviously they're in the beginning, and I thought I didn't even think I recognised them. But I was more focused on that huge bloody room that he walks into when Penguin's born. I was like, that's a fucking big door.
That's a big door.
That's a big
ass door.
Like, they must have spent a fortune on that room. So instead of that, I should be realising who the actor was. But no, super.
There's also hello. There's also when the Penguin's first kind of comes out to everyone, and I think he does the bit where he goes to the graveyard to see his parents' grave. There's a woman that's like, he's like a frog who became a prince. That's actually Bob Kane's wife, one of the creators of Batman, but she is then Gossip Gertie in the next two Batmans. So she is the gossip columnist reporter who's in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Wow, there's loads of.
She is Mrs. Kane.
Oh wow, that's cool. I didn't know that either.
Really useless facts.
I was nearly gonna watch the special features if I had a chance to, because there's a bunch of them on the iTunes version, and I was gonna watch the documentary and everything, but I didn't get around to it. But
they're really good special features, actually. They're really, really good. Yeah.
I went through a phase long time ago now when me and my older brother did, where we used to watch like every film we used to get on DVD or Blu-ray, we used to watch all the commentaries on them. It used to take bloody ages, but I should still do that now because they really do interest me. But I bet I'd love to hear the Tim Burton stuff. I don't know if there is a director's commentary on these, but probably is something. But
there's loads of stuff from him in the bonus features.
Is there?
Some of the stuff on costume design is really cool. I love listening to how they do that.
He loves that stuff, doesn't he? Though, like you get a real sort of Nightmare Before Christmas vibe from the henchman.
Ooh, thank you. You have just opened the door to another tidbit fact about this film. So when the circus gang attacks Gotham, there's a bit where the devil guy is breaking into like a toy shop, and Batman drops the Batmobile, turns it round, and sets him on fire.
Yeah.
If you listen to the score, which is obviously Danny Elfman, who always works with Tim Burton, he actually repeats some of his own music from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Just as he's spinning the Batmobile around, it just goes, making Christmas in the background. It just does that tiny little hook from Nightmare Before Christmas. But he has said he was just being really egotistical and putting his own music from another film in there.
Why wouldn't you? Danny Elfman. You might as well go for it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's funny because it's just like the room with Pee Wee Herman in when I was focused on the door. Rather than thinking about something like that, I was thinking about, why is that guy waiting for this car to turn around? And also, Batman doesn't kill, so don't set someone on fire because that guy's definitely going to die.
He kills a couple of people in this one as well, doesn't he? Because he puts the bomb on.
Yeah, he puts the guy and he blows up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just didn't give a shit. But it's not really explained in this one in either 89 or Returns. Like it's not really.
He blows up Axis chemicals with everyone in it in the first one. Doesn't he?
This Bruce Wayne
just drops that bomb around all of them. This guy is just killing.
It's probably why Barry Allen's going to go and find him in the Flash film. He's going to be like, I need a Batman who will kill without any question. Like, yeah, Michael Keaton, he'll step right up. Because, there's not really explained, is it? It's not like, like, I vow I'm never going to kill anyone. It's just like, I do what I want.
Yeah.
He even throws Selena Kyle off a roof when he gets just a tiny stab wound. Dick. Right, so should we jump into the narrative then? Should we just talk about it?
Roll in.
We kind of gone over a few little bits already, but I think this story is much stronger than 89 Batman. I'm just basing off the one that we've already spoken about, as this is as we're going through the Batman films. But I think the whole thing, I love the fact that they set the villains up really early on, and it doesn't take too long either. I think there's a lot of films that take far too long with the villains, and it's like really plodded along. But this one is kind of like, right, there's a penguin in the sewer. Yeah, he's there. He's gonna fuck some shit up. And then Selena Kyle quickly transforms into Catwoman as well. And it's actually, when I thought about it, the scene where she walks in the apartment and she's normal Selena Kyle to the one where she's turning into Catwoman, that's actually shorter. And I thought it was a lot longer in between when that happened, but it's quite a short time. Like it doesn't take too long for her to transform into Catwoman. It's all done within probably all done before Michael Keaton says anything.
I think it is all within like the first half hour, at least. The first half hour is sort of like Penguin, Catwoman.
Great, isn't it?
Yeah,
I love that about this story because it just, it just didn't drag on, and it's not like Penguin's obviously got a plan, hasn't he? He's got a plan with to find the first Sons of Gotham and everything, but that even is in the background to this, and it just all ticks along nicely. It's not dragged out or anything, and it moves so well. Whereas again, Jack Nicholson Joker, that just because he was the only villain in it as well, they had the time to go in depth with him and Batman a bit more. But
yeah, true.
It's just quick. It's just these are your villains. Batman's on the scene, and it just felt like it went really, really nicely throughout. With the pacing and everything. So, but you two feel the same? Do you feel different?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I love the fact that it's just a huge like gothic melodrama. Like right from the outset, when you get like the Cobblepot Manor with the huge gates and that massive swell of music, you're just like, okay, I know what's going to happen here. This is going to speak to my like 10-year-old goth soul all the way through, and I just love it. It's just so dark for the sake of being dark, and it's just Tim Burton dialed up to like an 11.
It's a nice intro, isn't it? With the bassinet, with Penguin and the bassinet and stuff like that. It's quite nice. But it's very quick with the mini origin of Penguin.
Yeah.
Get thrown in. I think it's a really nice. That doesn't take long to get to the credits, and then like bam, you're in like Gotham City.
It's another set of long credits, like you guys said with 89. It's a long opening credit sequence.
Yeah, it's long. Yeah,
kind of again as you track the bassinet as it goes through the sewers. It's really long with this one as well.
Yeah.
I think
it's nice that the Penguins took him in, isn't it? It's nice that they just took him in.
I think similar to how we said with Batman 89, I think Returns really leans into Tim Burton being Tim Burton. Like I can't imagine any other director going with the idea of like Penguin with the flipper hands, or like the sort of fully cat origin supernatural thing with Catwoman. Like I can't imagine that. I mean, obviously it didn't work in Catwoman. That film was a fucking train wreck. But any other director, I feel like, couldn't do that. It has to be a different take. And I feel like Tim Burton's got the sort of theatrical sensibility that he can portray those characters in that way. That was just something that really stood out with Returns. That I was like, he has, like you said, Neil, he's like really heightened it up. It's just, I'm just going to go balls to the wall, me.
I love that. I love the fact that it feels quite comic-y as well, doesn't it? It just feels dark as well, because there's obviously we've got different Batmans and different villains, and the way they're done now. Like you've got the over comical ones in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin and things. These just feel dark, and like you said, like it's really gothic, and suits the film. Penguin really, he just stands out as a villain. I saw an actual NECA figure of him, and it's so gross, but it's so good. Like, I really want to know if it's cost a lot of money, but it's so memorable, that Penguin. Like,
it's almost like a fairy tale in some respects. It's like,
it is.
It is very clear-cut heroes and villains. You've got all the Christmassy kind of snowiness about it. It's all very romantic with the city, but then at the same time, you've just got this really dark kind of adventure going on in the middle of it all.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You've got to remember as well, that's, in terms of the year when it came out, that's like peak Burton, because you're talking about within a 12-month period having Nightmare Before Christmas, Edward Scissorhands all going on at the same time. It's like peak golf fairy tale.
He's a huge director at that point as well, isn't he? So obviously he's done Beetlejuice as well, which was big at the time, and Edward Scissorhands and everything. It's just, I'm trying to think what he did after Batman Returns. All I've got in my head is Big Fish. Sleepy Hollow. Yeah, Sleepy Hollow.
Which again, is just an amazing film. I love that film.
That's awesome. So it's because there was rumored Johnny Depp being in one of the Batman films, wasn't there, as well? Was that? Did I?
Was it probably? Yeah.
Probably maybe made that up. But I swear at some point I remember reading that he was going to be in a Tim Burton Batman film, but I probably just.
Can you imagine what it would have been like if Tim Burton had done Robin? That could have been interesting.
Yeah, it would have been.
Didn't they cast Marlon Wayans? Was that in this one?
They did.
Him? And then they just didn't put him in?
Yeah, they didn't use him. Yeah, I remember reading that as well.
Did they actually? I think I read somewhere. Didn't they make a toy of him? Like, you can actually, like, somebody made a.
I have a feeling there might be, yeah.
Like a figure, but just was in the film.
Batman 89, I think it's 89, has an entire storyboarded sequence of Batman and Robin as well, where it's like a car chase and Robin goes after the Joker. So it's in the special features. It'll be on your iTunes bundle.
Okay.
It's just like an actual storyboarded sequence of what would have happened of Batman and Robin chasing after the Joker.
I think it's the right call not to have, especially in Batman Returns. It's the right call not to have Robin in it, because you just need Batman to be Batman, don't you? He doesn't need a sidekick. I understand for like the trilogy and stuff, like with the Dark Knight Rises, like you ease in Joseph Gordon-Levitt and stuff, as you don't know till right at the end, obviously. But I think this works because otherwise it probably would have been overstuffed with too many moving pieces. And what I said at the beginning when I was talking about narrative is that I think because they established the villains early on, that's why this works so well in my eyes, because it's, who the players are, and it doesn't get any more complicated than that. And it's, Penguin and Catwoman are kind of on the same team, but then they're not. I love that bit on the roof as well when he puts the umbrella on Catwoman, because he just turns on a coin, doesn't he? He's just like, I don't like you anymore, and off she goes and everything like that. So which is really good. And all that thing when she flips out the store as well, I love that scene. I really, really love it when she moonsaults and then the building blows up.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah.
There was another scene that I wrote down as well. The first time you see her as Catwoman, I don't know if you notice how beautiful that shot is of her in the alleyway when she's standing. There's absolutely nothing around her other than the buildings either side of her, but I think it's just white snow, and then her in her black suit for the first time, and like the lighting on her face is so well done. She's so well lit. And then it's just I actually went back to that shot, and it's just, I think it's probably one of the best shots in the whole film, because it's really, really nice.
I used the audio from that scene in our first ever podcast.
Really?
So I can't remember what my intro was at the time. I just said something like, "Hi, welcome to our first ever podcast," and it just cut to her for like 2 seconds, just saying, "Be gentle, it's my first time."
It's really good. Like, it's really good dialogue, isn't it? As well, like you say, that's what you say with the dialogue, and obviously you know so well now as well. But that, although that you don't hear quotes like that often anymore, but like that "Hear me roar" quote. If that was in a film now, that would be massive. That would be the thing on all the t-shirts and everything, wouldn't it? Like, it's so much of it is really well written.
I love.
I tried to get myself a t-shirt that had the "Hell Here" just in time for this podcast recording, but I could not get one delivered in time for when she smashes the lights in the background of her bedroom. Because
I only saw that recently. I don't know. I can't remember who put it up, but I don't know where I saw it, but. Yeah, when she's in the window and it says "Hell Here," and again, young me would never have noticed that in my life, but it's really cool, isn't it? It's really smart
The detail
really
in that
smart
scene
shot.
is just insane. There's so many little things to notice as she's going through that room, breaking everything up. Like when she opens the wardrobe and she's spray painting everything, there's a t-shirt with penguins on it, and there is a coat hanger for like a dry cleaners, of which the logo is penguins.
Really?
There are penguins littered everywhere. It's
So
just
good.
the small detail is just insane. I'm
I
pretty
always
sure
remember-
one of her stuffed toys might be a penguin as well that she puts down the sink.
I always remember that bit when she's stuffing the toys down the sink from when I was younger as well. Just remember thinking like, oh, that's weird to do, and her face looking so menacing. Like,
Oh god, there's that shot when she's sewing the costume and she's just like,
yeah,
it's just like she is obviously like just loving that. She is chewing the scenery as much as possible.
it's a bit weird that the way they do her transformation is because all the cats nibbling on her and stuff like that. That's a bit. It's not really explained in any way, is it? It's just like,
I guess Tim Burton probably didn't want to use the word metahuman.
No, is she dead though? Are we assuming she's dead when she's out the window and then the cats bring her back to life, or is she alive? But she's in like limbo a bit, and then the cats sort of.
I always think they were just trying to say that version of Catwoman basically would have been a metahuman, and that was her. She has 9 lives, and that would have been the first life. But it's a little bit tenuous, isn't it, in the narrative of the film? They weirdly pick it up again years later, and I will get so much stick for even mentioning this series, but the Birds of Prey TV series from like 2002, 2003, they bought the costumes from, I think it's Batman 89, but then they bought that Catwoman costume and put different actors in it and did this weird intro that kind of caught you up on what happened between the two of them, between then and this TV series, because the lead was the comic book version of Huntress when she was Helena Wayne, or Helena Kyle, because before Crisis on Infinite Earths in the comics, Huntress was Batman and Catwoman's daughter, and then they took that version out of continuity and brought in Helena Bertinelli, who's the version that's been in it ever since. But the TV series went back to the old continuity, and they suggested that Catwoman was a metahuman, and that's why their version of Huntress had metahuman powers that were cat-like, which meant that, being very 2002, whenever she did a massive like leap between buildings, there was a cat roar that would play in the background.
Gosh, that's crazy.
The idea was that she was a metahuman, apparently.
Yeah. All right. It makes sense that she's a metahuman. I just felt like it could have done with a tiny bit of an explanation, but again, it wasn't.
It could, didn't it?
But I guess Tim Burton thought it wasn't relevant to progress the story. And it wasn't in a way either, because we all get that she's Catwoman. I think at that
probably
point,
too comic booky.
Yeah, but in 1992, you probably didn't. It's not as though it probably wasn't as overthought, like as we do now. Yeah. Like we dissect everything now, don't we? From the DC films, the Marvel films, and everybody has. There's so many more comics out now, and we're sort of, overwhelmed by what we have and things going on. So it's you look at like Sam Wilson, Captain America now. It's just either like it or you don't like it. You can just pull everything apart from the comics and what it is and what he says and everything like that. And it's just I think at this point, no one would have cared necessarily. Would have just like, she's Catwoman. That's fine. That makes sense. She got eaten by some cats, and now she's Catwoman. I liked just rambling now, but I like to ramble. I like the fact that Penguin had all his umbrellas, and I love it when he pulls out the umbrella at the end. It's one of my favorite bits.
With the toys.
Does he swear in it? Does he say shit?
I think he might do, yeah.
Because I was trying to work out, because he's quite grumbled when he says it, but I swear he goes like, "Oh shit!" He's like pulled out a joke.
There is something, yeah.
I swear he swears, which is really funny as well, because obviously he's on his last legs at that point. I love the fact he pulls out like all the ones, like when he's threatening Max at the beginning, and he's like, "This is this one, and this is this one." And it's one with a bang, and all the umbrellas. There's like 16 umbrellas in that thing, and he just pulls out a toy one, and it's just like, because Batman's quite scared to see him, like he's a bit taken back when he sees him walking towards him. I love it. I love that fake umbrella.
Speaking of the dialogue as well, one of Walken's first pieces of dialogue when he's on the podium, and I think he says something like Santa Claus, afraid not. That's like the most Walken line of anything. Like his delivery on it is perfect, to the point where I wondered whether that was in the script or whether he just said it because he was just like, this suits my character.
That could be improvised, yeah.
It feels like him taking the character and kind of making it his own. And I think there's a lot of examples like that in the script where, like Pfeiffer's really in the role, or DeVito's really in the role, and it feels like they've just got a handle on their characters, so the dialogue almost feels like they just know what to say rather than it's written. I mean, I obviously haven't read the script, but it feels so organic. Except for that
I completely agree with you.
That Luke mentioned, where it's Catwoman, Batman in the hallway, and they have like an awkward fight, and then there's like some awkward dialogue, and that is the only thing that I really felt like I was like, that was just weird. I'm not sure what it was supposed to do, but sure. It was just a very odd scene. But
just didn't feel edited or anything. Didn't feel like they put the sound in there or anything. It felt really weird. Really
I remember it. She says, "I haven't been fed all day," and he hits her to the ground and says, "Eat floor, high fiber." Yeah, and that's when she grabs the ice princess and she's like, "Gotta go, girl talk."
Yeah, it's so weird.
And then they're suddenly on the roof. Yeah.
It almost felt like they'd like shot the before and after, and then somebody went, "Well, you need a scene there to like how they get to the roof," and they were like, "Okay, let's just do that." But the whole thing just feels really muddled.
I thought it just felt like an extended cut, like the director's cut. And it's like, we'll put in every scene we shot and we'll just make sure it fits in somewhere. It just felt unpolished. But anyway.
Fun fact, there is one scene in the special edition, which is the kind of the version that we get now, that the UK had never had before. There was one scene that was cut from it when it was released here in cinemas, and it's when just before Catwoman blows up Shrek's department store, when you actually see her put the paint cans into the microwave and turn it on. The UK, like the BBFC, thought that we would all, as kids, suddenly go, "Ooh, let's put a spray can in the microwave." So
I didn't remember that scene.
It's only like 2 or 3 seconds, but that was never on. That was never in the cinema. It was never on the VHS. It wasn't even in the original DVD release. It was only when they did the special editions in 2005 or 6, I think it was, when we finally had that scene added back in.
What a time to be alive! I feel like with our podcast, Nick, we can, if we do something like this, we can ask Neil for a fact, and then we can just record a snippet, and we can have like a tiny fact bit. I swear, like there's a podcast I know where they do that, because half these facts I've never even heard of, and they're brilliant. So much I've got to learn. I just remember seeing that cam bit, and I think I thought about the security guards as well, but I didn't remember that bit either. So I thought the whole bit was extended, actually. But the security guards was probably in the original cut now. You've said about the cans, but I don't remember seeing the cans, because I don't remember, because she punches a hole in the wall.
She punches, all of that was gone.
Oh, she's strong. But yeah, it's good stuff.
I love just like, again, jumping off of Catwoman, I love how early she gets the taser, and like even before she's Catwoman, there's a curiosity of the taser.
She's fascinated by it.
Yeah, it's like, you know, she's curious like a cat kind of thing. And then I just forgotten how dark it is when she kills Max. Like that whole scene is really horrific. And I kind of
love that child corpse.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
So
his head looks so small compared to his his suit. But
if you watch that scene really carefully, sorry, people are listening to this going to be like, "Oh my god, can he shut up with the fact?"
No, I think people are going to want you back.
If you watch that scene really carefully, which obviously I have, it does the whole thing where she leans in with the taser in her mouth, and then it cuts to a wide shot as everything starts to explode. If you look really carefully, you see the two actors shift out of the way and run behind the set.
I do.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We were saying that about Batman 89. Maybe you've listened to it, Neil, which the set's moving in the background when he's, there's a lot less, by the way, of Batman ascending and descending with his cape open. They don't do that at all. I only noticed it once, I think, when he kind of swoops down, but he goes straight across the screen.
Yeah.
He doesn't really do much of the up and down thing. They clearly were like, it's too static, because in 89, the whole background painting moves all the time.
Yeah. That was one of the things that it's sort of a give and take thing with Returns for me, that I hadn't clocked until I watched it kind of with our brief in mind, that I kind of thought the sets add to Burton's like theatrical vibe. Again, it feels like it could be a stage play or something. But then at the same time, there are a lot of times where they're in Gotham and it feels like it's a set. Like it feels like they've created this one bit. And I was kind of like, that. It's almost a shame to an extent, because it just doesn't feel like it's ever not being performed. It never kind of lands in the sense that it's like out in the world.
It was bigger, wasn't it? They had bigger. I read on Wikipedia. Thank you, Wikipedia. That they used massive stages for this one. Like they took up pretty much the whole of the studio was this. Whereas in Batman '89 they used a lot of the backdrops, didn't they? And that we both said that made it look like it was like larger scale almost. But this does feel, like you said, it does feel like it was like a stage. And like
a lot of stuff happens around that square.
Yeah, this Christmas tree is the back of the stage, isn't it? And everything else is almost around it. So,
and then the Shrek's department store is on the square. The rooftop where I was going to say Joker, Penguin puts the umbrella around Catwoman's neck is at the top of the square. Just everything happens around there. And the scene where Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne meet out in the street and they're reading out the newspaper headlines and just having that really weird conversation. Again, is just on the town square. It's like everything happens to be in that square for this film.
Because there isn't a lot of outside. I mean, you got the sewer bit, and you've got a bit of Wayne Manor, haven't you? But the Wayne Manor stuff, Carl and him having a date there and stuff, and a little bit of the Batcave stuff. But there isn't much to it, really, is there? Which is it's a very contained set piece.
In '89, you kind of had that whole scene, didn't you, with the beginning. Yeah, you actually had like busy streets at the beginning, and then you obviously have the whole performance in the street at the end, filled with extras. So it just felt lively and a bit more like a real place. Whereas I completely agree with you, Nick. This does feel a bit more staged. This one,
it definitely does. Well, we're talking about visual representation. We're jumping into the other bit as well. Just what we like to do, Nick. We like to just mix it all in. But it's weird because the Christmas tree, that's the back of the stage, isn't it? And everything else flows around it. But with Batman '89 as well, you had Ace Chemicals, which I guess is the sewer, but it felt like there were a lot more locations in '89.
Yeah,
than Returns.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but I don't think it matters so much because I think the story is a lot better.
Yeah, I feel like it suits that. It suits Burton's like vision. I think if it was any other director, like if Matt Reeves the Batman, it feels like an enclosed set, it would feel really odd. Because he's not that kind of director, like having watched his other films. Whereas Burton, you always feel like, because he's got such a specific view of what his worlds are like, that they're very gothic, that they're very kind of, they feel like a painting. So much of his stuff exists on sets because that's his kind of like his cinematography. That's his style.
It's always nighttime, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it really leans into his thing. It's just it's interesting to kind of watch a Batman film and go like it's squarely placed on a set, especially in modern day where there's so many set photos of people out and about.
Imagine a Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy on just a stage.
Yeah,
just as wide shots, just really not happening.
No. Oh God. Which is also brings me on to the fact that they really went like heavy on Batman's gadgets in this one. It was like, didn't they? We've got a budget, let's do everything possible. Which just like I'd forgotten about the Batarang, which you mentioned earlier on. Yeah. When that hit, I was like, oh fuck, okay, that's there. In the same way that
he taps a lot of buttons on that thing before it actually goes.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Batmobile is really nice in this, isn't it? I love the Batmobile in this.
Yeah, always good though. I think it is classic that's Batman. The Batboat thing's very peculiar. I don't quite understand that, but sure.
I always wanted a toy of that. Never did get one.
No, the old Batboat.
Yeah, just curious.
Okay, this is funny. Well, in my head it was funny anyway. It's probably not going to be funny now, but his bloody wardrobe of Bat costumes is absolutely ridiculous. It's so strange. Like he actually walks past one costume, goes into his wardrobe.
Yeah.
Actually, the shot has him pulling the exact same Bat costume forward, and then he grabs another one, and then he walks around the Bat costume that is the closest one to him, and then he comes out dressed as Batman. It's like, dude, why? I mean, and then you got like 16 boots, and then it's like, I don't know. I just found it really funny when I watched it. Why has he got so? I mean, I know wear and tear and everything like that, but why was that specific one the one he got? Neil, tell me. You must know.
Maybe that was like Tuesday's batsuit. Maybe they're all like labeled for a different day of the week.
I like it. Yeah, you can't It's not Wednesday. It's Thursday. Take that bat suit away.
I also thought
It's
that
like
about,
there's a note from Alfred that says like,
Yes,
I have buffed this one.
ready.
This one's
the
ready to
crotch
go.
has been waxed. You can take this one away. But,
I also thought the bit where he like pulls off his like cowl and it like rips.
The rubber bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, God, that must be like he must just go through those. Like any time he removes it, it's just like having to rip it apart. I thought that was
the chest plate is the chest plate looks like the only bit that doesn't get damaged. Because like Selena Kyle's like, if she'd gone anywhere else, like to stab him, like she could have gone for the head or the neck, or what else? She got him in the abdomen area. But yeah, it's just doesn't look like the best put together. I'm just thinking that I have a Batman figure, and now I'm desperate to find out if it's 89 Batsuit or Batman Returns Batman. I can't see it from here, guys. It's really troubling me. I can't tell which one it is. Anyway, I've gone off topic.
Well, you're talking about the Bat wardrobe. Sorry, I was going to say, you don't see as much of the Batcave in this one. It also feels a lot smaller than it did in the last film.
It does, definitely. Obviously, they've got the Bat slide in. Which,
classic.
But yeah, it doesn't. It does feel smaller, doesn't it? I wonder why that is though, because they had more money, didn't they? I mean, obviously they paid everyone probably a little bit more, but it feels like they've condensed quite a lot of it. Like, makes you think
whether that's Tim Burton wanting to not repeat stuff. So did he want to do the Batmobile driving in again just for us to see a shot of that huge bit where it would be parked up? Because you see it up close when when Batman's trying to repair it after it's shot to pieces and become the Bat torpedo. But again, you don't see that in a wide shot. You only see that in a really close shot. Then when he's at the Bat computer, when he pulls out the cat claw and eats his cold soup, which is like the weirdest joke in that film that always sticks out in my head. It's a really, really closely framed shot. It's not. There's never a wide shot of the Batcave really in this one at all.
I wondered if part of it is like, because we're talking about narrative, I wonder if part of it was because the narrative is so tight, like the plot is just so tight, it's so clear in terms of like, this is about the villains, here's this. So it's just very much like getting the characters from A to B and not having any kind of like fluff alongside of it. It's just sort of, let's just tell the story, let's be as concise as we can. And that's the impacting thing. Because the film does go by quite quickly, I thought, in the sense that I was like, oh shit, but not to the point where I was kind of going, well, that hasn't been explained, or that hasn't been, everything makes sense. It's just so concise, and I think it hits better because of it. But the pacing, I think, is really, really strong. So I wonder whether everything's a little bit closer for that reason, that it's sort of, maybe. Let's just keep it tight.
That's a really good point, because when you think about some of the other sets, like Selena Kyle's apartment, Penguin's loft, as well as his zoo base, Shrek's department store, they are huge locations that you do kind of explore a little bit. So I think you're probably right. It's down to what's necessary for the story as it is.
Yeah.
I do actually really like the story that they tell with Penguin. Like, even though he's very specific to Burton's world with the flippers and the backstory, the core story that he is desperate to become mayor and to sort of like fit in society and like leave his mark on Gotham. I thought that's a very traditional storyline, even though he's heightened to what Burton's kind of creating. I thought that was pretty cool to kind of like have that contrast.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely.
I think it's good because he has a lot of stuff going on, but it's, like I said, because it's paced so well. Like, obviously he's got ulterior motives, like we said, with the sons and everything but he doesn't set out to be mayor originally, does he? Which I thought he did. He's kind of like led into it by Shrek.
It's Shrek, isn't it? Yeah, who leads him down that path.
So it makes you think, what is, because originally he just wants to come to the surface, doesn't he? I think it's like so people can see him and he's accepted so he can do the sons thing. Which also reminds me of a shot which is pretty ridiculous, which is when Penguin's writing his list and Batman rocks up in the Batmobile next to him and just there's just no Penguin
just stares.
How does Penguin not notice him pull up straight away?
Yeah.
I know he's really engaged in what he's doing, but it's just like, I mean, even if you just see a Peugeot pull up next to you, you're probably going to look, but no, just Batman just staring at him, but no, nothing. But
it's so weird as well, because I absolutely love the start of that scene where you just see like the Batmobile crawling the streets of Gotham. I was like, oh, that's
in the snow. It's really nice scene. It's really
And
nice.
then he stops outside, and I was like, how the fuck does nobody just go like, Batman's like, window me?
I just like to imagine that he's just in the back of Alfred, like, you know what, I'm gonna go spy on Penguin. He's like, rather than him standing on a gargoyle on top of a rooftop or something, he's just gargoyle. Gargoyle. I've lived in Norway too long. Words in English are not the same. He's just rocking up in his Batmobile, which is fucking massive, by the way. And then Penguin doesn't notice. Maybe he did notice. Maybe he was just being really clever and just pretending to act dumb. But good stuff. But anyway, Penguin's story is really strong, and it's
surely Bruce should have been on that list.
Yes,
he was a firstborn son.
I thought this as well. I thought that's when I watched it yesterday. I was like, that. I wonder if that's kind of where it would. If I was watching it now, as an adult, not as a child, I probably would have thought that would be something that would happen. Obviously, they probably do a lot of stuff differently, because I read a lot of things saying that a lot of people weren't happy that they put rocket launchers on penguins. But don't think that would be happening now. But yes, it's. I thought that as well. I thought Bruce, he's a first. I thought that was maybe the thing, like the first son of Gotham, because he's Prince of Gotham, effectively, isn't he? So, but I spotted that as well. I thought he should have been on the list.
How do we?
It would have been good if Penguin had seen him with his mask off, if that was like some of the end dialogue. But I'm glad we got the umbrella thing instead. Made me more happy.
Going off of that, how do we all feel about the ending with everything going down? How do we all land on it in terms of where the characters end up, and also the Catwoman shot at the end, which am I right in saying that's not Michelle Pfeiffer, that they shot that separately?
Yes, that is a doll.
Yeah, I thought it was.
That is a flip that just has the Catwoman costume on, and just press a button and it just goes dunk.
You what?
Yeah,
that is what that is. It's a mannequin head that just flips up.
Yeah. Did they shoot that without Burton knowing?
Man,
well, I swear I read it somewhere that he didn't know about it and they shot it.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe
that's even better. Just imagine like Burton walking off like, right, that's a wrap, everyone. It's like, right, get the mannequin. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get signed up for that trilogy if it's the last thing we do. Like, we killed off Catwoman. It's like, mate, have you seen the end of the film? It's like, I love the fact that's a mannequin, but I do love the ending. I love the fact they all end up below ground as well. I think it's nice that they end in like Penguin's lair, basically, and I think it's fair enough what happens to Shrek. And I like the whole mask coming off thing as well. And I like the fact that Selena Kyle looks so battered as well, because it's not like she's got 9 lives and she's just
I was going to say that
again. It's just like she looks battered, doesn't she? Like a mask is
the way her journey is kind of traced through the costume is just really cool.
Yeah.
So like the fact that when she first creates it, it's all really tight and it's all, like sewn up properly, and then slowly fight after fight, bits of it start to unravel, and then there are holes in it, and there are little breaks in the mask around the eye as well.
Yeah.
So after she falls into the cat litter and stuff, it rips the arm, and there's a slow like degradation of the costume to the end where she just pulls the mask off because there's basically nothing left. Yeah. I love that analogy of her journey through the film.
Yeah, I like that as well. It's the same with Penguin as well. I like the fact that he's like this guy underground and stuff, and then all of a sudden don't get me wrong, he doesn't look good, but he's a little bit more fancy and stuff, isn't he? But then by the end of it, he doesn't give a shit, does he? He's just in his pajamas, goo everywhere. And I think that's good as well, because he's gone up to the heights, hasn't he? He's gone high and then he's come down again. And even Batman's battered, isn't he, by the end of it? He's mask off and he's a bit beaten and he's been stabbed and everything from a bit before. But
you get that moment with Penguin as well, where in the loft when one of the Red Triangle gang calls him Penguin and he says, "No, my name is Oswald," where he's kind of started to buy into his own hype that he's gonna be mayor. He's got this huge business guy on his side who's going to put him at the top of Gotham, and he's like, "Do not call me Penguin, call me Oswald." And then it flips later on in the film when someone calls him Oswald and he's like, "My name is not Oswald.
Yeah,
it's Penguin."
Yeah.
So good.
It's like owning who he is, which is really good. It's a shame Sorry, you go, Nick.
No, you go, because I'm going to jump. So you go.
I think the only thing that I think is a shame by the ending is that if this was like, if they were going to do a trilogy, I know they typically do this because it's one villain per film or something, but they obviously, because they killed off Joker at the end of Batman 89 and then they killed off Penguin as well. It's just, just feels strange that both of them die, because it doesn't really happen in the comics. Like, it's very rare that one of the villain dies. They all go to Arkham and they all come back again. And I don't like the idea that, especially with Joker and probably with Penguin as well, that's it. And I know it's a film, so I know it's not going to be an ongoing thing. I know there aren't going to be like 20 films or whatever. And maybe if it's a TV show, it'd be different. But I always like the fact that the villain in the Batman films, I'd like them to just, like with Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy, I love the fact that he popped up in different bits, even if it's just minor bit. But I'd love the idea, and I assume they would have done something with Heath Ledger's Joker as well if he hadn't passed away. That there would have been some link to him in the third Batman film. But I think it's a bit odd that they killed off two big villains. And again, I guess it goes back to Tim Burton not wanting to do a sequel, let alone probably a trilogy. But I just would have rather one of them be like banged up in Arkham, because
then they kill off Two-Face at the end of Batman Forever, because you get the moment where his hand is out of the water and the coin lands in it as he's fallen onto those spikes in the massive like tunnel underneath the Riddler layer.
Yeah.
But then in Batman and Robin, when Poison Ivy breaks Mr. Freeze out of Arkham, you go through the random like Arkham back room where there's a Riddler costume hanging next to the Two-Face costume, and it always confused me because I was like, but you killed him in the last film.
Yeah.
Why is his costume now hanging in Arkham?
Yeah, because Riddler was the only... Isn't there a rubber duck in there as well? There
probably is, yeah.
Yeah, I think there is a rubber duck or something linked to Penguin. I don't know about Joker, but...
So excited to watch that film.
Oh, God.
It's going to be so good. Can't wait.
I might skip that, and I'll let Neil or Harry replace me.
I mean, you can't skip it because it's got Arnie, who is the best Mr. Freeze there ever is.
Oh, Batman and Robin. Yeah, Batman.
Yeah.
I love Mr. Freeze. So I love
he got
Arnie.
top billing for that as well, did he not? Didn't he get billing over George Clooney?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. I was very lucky that Nick and Harry got me a present once. It was a Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze t-shirt, which I treasure every day. Every day. When my wife's like, we're going out somewhere posh, I'm like, I'll grab my Mr. Freeze t-shirt. So
good. I always remember my brother talking about Batman Returns. I'm pretty sure, anyway, he'll probably correct me if this is wrong, but I'm pretty sure he always told me how he always used to feel a little bit emotional when Penguin dies, and the penguins like carry him off.
Oh, it
is. Yeah,
penguins. So sad.
It is really sad.
Yeah.
Poor penguins. Poor penguin.
And a couple of those penguins are real. I don't know if that's like a myth or if that's actually true, but I think because there's 6 penguins, there's 3 on either side of him. I think the 2 at the front and the 2 at the back are supposed to be like animatronic / people in a suit. And then I think the ones in the middle were always rumored, but probably not true, and someone will correct me, to be actually real. Because I just remember somebody talking about the fact that the penguins were crying, and they thought it was incredibly sad that the penguins were crying like it was really happening.
I don't want anyone to correct you. I hope they were all penguins, all the real penguins. Like, I don't want to pretend that they weren't real. All of those penguins with rockets on their back were real to me. But it's super sad, isn't it, when they drag him into the water
and drop him into the water.
Well.
Yeah, it's done well.
Just one other thing that I'd seen that I put down in my kind of visual notes that I thought was very random and actually would have just fitted in perfectly in Batman and Robin is the bat notepad. Like the fact
he
had Batman themed notepad.
Yeah, I was like, that's incredible. I wonder if that was Burton's
credit card,
or whether that was the studio going, can you just do a notepad because we can sell that.
It was probably around the same time they decided to do the mannequin of Catwoman, flipping a notepad.
There's a bat logo on the Alfred's like DJ deck as well when they're playing the Penguin quote, and he decides to like mix the CD.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I noticed that the disc drive is
has a bat logo on
hasn't it? Yeah. But my favorite thing that's come out of this podcast is just thinking about all the bat signals. Like, that's so funny. The more I think about it now, is that like everyone, like someone's looking over Wayne Manor, is like, why the fuck are there so many Batman signals over there? It's just so stupid.
And when did Penguin find time to build a miniature Batmobile for him to sit in his truck? Which I love, do not get me wrong, that is amazing. But when he controls the Batmobile and he's sitting in the little, like, rocking back and forth in his little Batmobile, love that. But who has the time to do that?
But all of Penguin's things are weird, like the giant fucking present. Like,
true.
That's pretty odd as well. But everything, like, where did he learn to write? Like, I know he went to the circus for a little bit, but just like he's pretty on the ball, isn't he? This guy. But it's there's a lot of stuff. The giant present is like really odd. Like, who didn't notice something was
Didn't
going
notice
on?
that being just
Who
like
didn't, who
rocking
didn't,
up
who
into
didn't
the
notice
square.
that coming out of the sewer? Like, oh, that's a unique place for a giant present to come from. And it moved very smoothly, didn't it, with all the bikes and stuff inside? Like, no one heard any noise. Just like, but I do love it when that present explodes. That is a really cool moment. And all the villains, like the guy with the monkey box, comes out and it shoots, has a machine gun inside. It's so good, isn't it? I feel like he's in quite a lot of things, that actor. I don't know.
I always remember him from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was
he's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
gypsy uncle of Jenny Calendar.
Yes, that's where he's from. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yep.
Buffy. Good stuff. Do you like Buffy, Nick? I know this is completely unrelated to Batman Returns, but
if
he says no, you need to kick him out of this straight away.
I will.
I do. I weirdly, I think I preferred Angel just because it was a little bit darker.
All right, cool.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember enjoying Buffy when I was younger. I just remember when Angel started, I was way more invested in that, and I don't know if it was because it was just a bit more like less teeny, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Plus,
the person who absolutely loves the OC, by the way, like probably one of the most teen things you can watch. But
hey, the OC's all right, isn't it? Seth,
incredible,
innit? But
so good.
I don't know if you know this now, but Nick did not like Civil War from the MCU, which is just, isn't it? Just, I know, right? Just makes you want to cry. Cool. Has anybody got anything else they want to add to this Batman Returns episode? If
the music. You cannot let this film go without talking about the score. I absolutely adore every single piece of music in this entire film.
It is good.
In fact, it's the kind of film that you do not want to watch with me because I just hum along to the music all the way through because I just know it inside out. I love
awesome.
it every.
I used to have the CD. I used to have the CD for both the films. Oh well, I think it was a cassette I had for '89. But I used to have a CD for this.
I had the cassette for '89 as well. I love that Prince soundtrack.
I still do.
I love that music.
I do have it somewhere still. It's really good. Danny Elfman's just the man, isn't he?
Yes, it was my first note actually was just that the score straight up front is just so moody and it sets the tone. Also just introduces you that it's like this is Batman, but also it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's like
definitely
here's all of this up front. It really nails it. Was there a song for this one? Because
yes, there was. Susie and the Banshees.
Yeah, okay. Susie and the Banshees. Yeah,
cool.
Because it plays really briefly. Well, it's got that one. It's got the hook that's in quite a lot of the score. There's like a 3-4 note thing that repeats a lot. That's like the basis of the Susie and the Banshees song because Danny Elfman wrote it for them. But the song itself plays, I think, during the masquerade scene. With Selena and Bruce are dancing, and she's going a little bit nuts and pulls the gun out. I think that's the only time in the film it plays.
That's a good scene as well, isn't it? When they're dancing, it's a really good scene, and she looks mental in that as well. Michelle Pfeiffer, Selena Kyle. She looks like she's kind of staggering a little bit in her high heels and everything, but she looks like stunning, but also insane. Like she's she'll kill you. And I always think that as well when she walks back in for the first time we've seen her after she's been out the window and she's had the apartment scene when she walks in to see Shrek for the first time, Max Shrek. I can't just call him Shrek, Max Shrek. And she looks insane there, doesn't she? And the fact that Bruce Wayne is quite taken by her, but she her hair is like one way, and she's got bandages all over her face and her hand. Bruce Wayne's like, "Hey, beautiful, like
I'm round to my house.
I'm round to my house, yeah." So that's good. And I like. I'm going backwards now with what we're talking about, but I like. I think Mike Keaton's because he is more relaxed. He's even a little bit more funny in this one because his humor is pretty good in '89, but it's a bit better like when he's in the lift and he's about to leave, and it's just slightly little bits there where you can see why Tim Burton was so kind of keen on him because he was very as good as Bruce Wayne as well.
Yeah,
which is nice.
So
there's some interesting interviews with Danny Elfman talking about this film. Just going back to the score because he has mixed feelings about it. Because I think he feels like it dominates the film, which it does. But if you're a score fan, I think that's amazing because I like I said, I just absolutely adore the music. But he talks about it not in the best of terms sometimes because he does feel like it's a little bit too prominent, and at times it kind of carries the film maybe when the story kind of bows down a little bit, which is interesting. But
it is definitely.
I will not hear a bad word said about it.
Like it is a great score, but it is very upfront. Like it's the first thing that, like I said, it sets the tone rather than the visuals setting the tone or or like dialogue
Yeah.
or anything. The thing that really kind of places me in that world is the score. Yeah, it's impressive. It's a very, very good score. Memorable as well. Like,
It's nuts right from the start.
Yeah,
When
it's-
you think about
true.
it's just the penguin's parents walking through a park with the pushchair, but the score is massive. It's like a full-on choir, all completely going for it, and you're like, okay, this film is clearly not gonna, do anything by halves.
Yeah.
Was it
The music
nominated
wins-
for its score?
I hope
Wasn't it
so.
nominated?
If
It
it
was nominated,
wasn't, it should have been.
I know it was for. I think it was the score, and I think it was visual effects or something. It definitely got a couple of nominations. I might be making that up. I swear it got nominated for the score,
It should do.
which would make sense.
Oh no, it was nominated for just best visual effects and makeup.
Wow, that's
Wow.
insane. There
Right,
had to be
Star
some good
campaign.
scores that year to
Yeah.
right the wrongs.
Right,
The music
oh,
when Selena
shit.
Kyle trashes the apartment as well. That's like my single favorite piece of score ever in any movie at all. When she goes nuts, I just
It's really
absolutely
good.
love it.
Yeah,
I love the music. Definitely makes the film. I read a few reviews of it as well before, and everyone is complimenting the score. Like that is such a big thing. Like I really delve into the reviews. It's like the score like sets the tone for the whole film. So it's awesome.
I can't really
good.
remember if they carry across the Batman motif into Forever and Batman and Robin, or whether it's
No,
something different.
they change it.
Okay.
It's so Danny Elfman goes after this too, and it's I want to say Jerry Goldsmith.
Yes,
that
it
takes
is.
over after this,
I'm pretty sure it is.
and it's a completely new. You get the like the theme that comes in instead. That becomes the new Batman theme through Forever and Batman and Robin.
Classic.
I bet that got nominated for a bloody Oscar.
The film
Probably, don't you?
Batman and Robin should
Oh, no.
be just I hope that Matt Reeves watched that before he made the Batman.
There's a lot of good stuff coming out. Matt Reeves stuff, isn't there? They've announced the animation as well now. Batman 1.
Oh
very
my
good.
god, that was. I can't wait to see what they come up with for that.
Yeah, 'cause
Especially with that teaser poster as well, because that's a
Yeah.
really classic Batman.
Yeah, I like the fact they're doing that, and obviously they got the TV show as well, the GCPD one and everything. It seems like there's a lot.
Yeah,
It seems like after a bit of crap, like I know you're big on the Snyder stuff, Nick, and
It's amazing.
but I like the Snyder stuff as well. But I feel like there's now a really nice shift going.
yeah, there is.
Stuff. So
You've got the
I feel
Batgirl film as well. It's just got directors, which should
that-
be pretty interesting.
I thought that was going to be a TV show.
It's an HBO Max movie.
Ah, okay, cool, nice. There's so much material out there. I've just reread. Have you read the White Knight comic, Neil?
Love White Knight. Yeah.
So good.
In fact, I have.
Cool.
Oh no, he's gone. I had a Batman White Knight that was up there. I've got the White Knight Joker in the Batman action figure, but I forgot. I've
Jealous.
taken them down. I've
have
got different ones up there at the moment.
There.
Yeah, I have
don't
that
think you can see
Joker.
it.
Those
Yeah.
two. I have those two. Yeah.
Well, today I ordered myself the Bat Cycle from the White Knight comic because
Nice.
the Bat Cycle was in the latest preview, so I saw it. Anyway, it's very exciting. We should just do a talk show about figures. That would make me very happy. Talk
I've got
show.
Death Metal Batman up there instead.
Oh,
Sick.
nice. Death Metal is so good.
So
I saw they do it.
And the Damian Wayne.
There's Death Metal soundtracks coming out. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which are varying with I don't have a vinyl player, but man, I want them. I don't even like death metal music. I just want them. So cool. Right. Anyone else? Anything else we want to bring up about Batman Returns before we wrap this bad boy up?
I think I'm good.
I could probably go for another couple of hours, but I won't.
Yeah, we could always. I think it's always the way, isn't it? You just keep talking about it. But yeah. All right. Well, just a reminder, you can find our sponsor Black Spot Comics at Comixology by searching for Black Spot Comics. You can find them on Twitter at Black Spot Comic and Black Spot Comics on Instagram. And you can find us on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Consistently Pod, and on YouTube by simply searching for the Consistently OK podcast. We stream on all podcast services, and each episode coming out on Wednesdays. If you're an Apple Podcast subscriber, you'll get extra content. So that wraps up our in-depth series episode on Batman Returns. So thanks everyone for listening. Our next podcast is going to be about the Netflix show Sweet Tooth, which is based on a Jeff Lemire comic. So we're excited to do a podcast on that. And that'll be out in a couple of weeks' time. So thanks, Neil, for joining us as well.
Thank you very much for having me. I've loved it.
I loved all your facts. I feel like I've gained so much knowledge now. It's fantastic.
You do not need IMDb trivia on a Batman movie when you've got
I
me.
We were definitely going to just enter you into a conversation when needed in the future when we do the other Batman films. Have your encyclopedia ready.
I'm always at the end of the phone when you need me.
We'll put a bat signal up, and it will bounce off other bat signals.
Yeah.
It will shine through my my office window straight into my face.
Neil's getting a Batman question. That's typical. All right. So thanks, guys. Thanks everyone for listening, and take care.
Cheers, dude. See you in a bit.
Bye.